Namaskar, myself Poonam Bhuri from Cummins College of Engineering for Women, Pune. We will discuss thread drawing. Thread terminology. Threads are of two types, external threading and internal threading. External threadings are cut on outside of a cylindrical body. Internal thread cut on inside of a cylindrical body. This is known as bowl, over which external threadings are cut, and this is known as nut, over which we have internal threads. We have two types of threading, right hand threading and left hand threading. Right hand threading that will assemble when turned clockwise. Left hand threads will assemble when turned clockwise. Turnbuckle use right hand helix and left hand helix at each end to double displacement. Crest is the peak edge of a thread. Root, bottom of the thread cut into a cylindrical body. Thread angle, the angle between thread faces. Major diameter, the largest diameter on internal or external threads. Minor diameter, the smallest diameter on internal or external threads. Pitch, the distance between crest of a thread. Lead is the distance a screw will advance when turned 360 degree or in one revolution. We can represent thread as detailed representation, schematic representation, or simplified representation, which is also known as a conventional representation of threads. Detailed representation. Use slant lines to represent crest and root. Crest and roots are drawn in sharp alphabet V. This represents the pitch. This is the angle, and a runout is provided over the thread when the threads are cut over a lathe on a external threading. Schematic representation. Use alternate long and short lines for representing crest and roots of the thread respectively. Crest are represented with a thin line and root is represented with a thick line over external threading as well as internal threading. Simplified representation. Use thick continuous line for representing crest and thin continuous line for representing root of the thread respectively. This is the runout portion provided over the threaded part. The distance between two lines drawn parallel is equal to half of the pitch. The thin continuous line represents root and thick continuous outer line represents crest. And at the end, chamfer is provided at an angle of 45 degrees. Isometric threads. The internal and external thread meshing has been shown. The center line of thread assembly. The distance between the corresponding points on the next tooth is represented over this figure, as we know it as pitch. The thread assembly occurs if and only if both internal and external threads have equal nominal size or diameter and pitch. This is a basic representation. M stands for metric thread and a number representing the major diameter. This represents the pitch. Minor diameter, which is equivalent to the tap drill size. In threaded drawing, the following relationship is used, that is, minor diameter is equal to major diameter minus pitch. This is a representation for fine thread, metric fine thread. In thread drawing, the following relationship is same used for coarse as well as fine thread. We will discuss now thread steps for external threading. First, we will draw a thread axis. Then we will have to draw major axis. measure diameter, lines representing measure diameter, then the starting position, then we have to place the thread length, we'll define minor diameter, then we'll draw chamfer at an angle of 45 degree, then on the other end we'll draw a line making 30 degree with the thread axis, then we'll draw outline for the crest part, then the inner line representing the root, then lines at an angle will be darkened. This is the center line drawn. Then to draw other view of the threaded portion, we will draw center line, then we'll draw a circle, complete circle to represent crest, and draw an arc that represents a root which will be 3/4 of the outer circle. Steps to draw a threaded hole. Through threaded hole. First, draw a threaded axis, then we'll draw a major diameter, then minor diameter which represents a root. Draw crest and the center line. The sectional view can be drawn in a similar fashion, over which center line has to be drawn, and then the sections are drawn over the continuous line representing root. Then for its another view, as it is an internal threaded hole, we will draw a complete circle representing the crest of a hole and 3/4 circle for root of the threaded hole. Steps to draw threaded hole. Blind hole we'll discuss further. First, we have drawn a center line, same as threaded external portion. We'll define the length of thread, then we'll define minor diameter, then we have to define the depth of hole, major diameter will be represented, then lines at an angle of 30 degrees are drawn. We'll draw hidden portion for the drilled hole. This represents the drilled hole depth. Then a threaded portion will be shown with the other line parallelly drawn to the drilled hole. These lines are drawn at an angle of 30 degrees. Then center line has to be drawn. Another view of the same blind threaded hole is drawn. With center line first, then a circle representing a root and 3/4 circle representing a crest. The sectional threaded blind hole can be made by drawing a section lines over the root of the threaded part drawn. External thread. Dimensioning of an external thread. Use local note to specify thread form, nominal size and pitch. If it is fine thread, accordingly we need to specify those notes. When it is M10, meaning metric thread, 10 nominal size and 1.5 will be coarse thread. If it is fine thread, it will be 1.0 fine threads. This represents the pitch of the thread. Use typical method to specify thread length. Dimension of the threaded hole. Mainly, we should write these many parameters over a threaded portion. It could be 1. Tap drill size, drill depth, thread form, nominal size, pitch and thread depth. Thank you.